Here I have a really old school amplifier of some sort. In this kind of, basically I've taken the covers off just to see what was inside it, but in this old aluminium box, which actually has a sort of welded together chassis of, I'm not sure if it's steel or brass or what that is, probably just steel, in the old grey paint, like a bit of old telecommunications equipment. It's got this really weird connector here, some sort of Belling Lee, made in England, L655/C3 5935 111785. Never seen one before, and it's got this great big long cable which has the socket version of the same thing. I assume they plug together. There you go, we've got a cord that plugs into itself. And speaking of Belling Lee, it's got a couple of the old power type standard connectors, antenna type sockets used, or plugs that go into a TV. It's got the sockets there for input 1 and 2, and it's got like P-amp 1 and 2 on and off, switches going the opposite directions. Some sort of pilot light fuse, I guess that's the main power switch. And then some other equally oddball speaker connections. So something on here, this system for use with 2 speakers in old maple cabinets. Caution, speakers are 4 ohm, do not connect to other output. Looks like there's a 3.5mm socket there maybe. Had dozens and dozens, you can see all the screw holes here. Talk about a lot of screws to take out to even get it to bits. And yeah, power transformer, some old school diodes, a lot of Ducon capacitors and stuff. What's that switch? Looks like it was a standard house light switch kind of thing. Can't see what the brand is on it. Made. Nope. So yeah, 4 of these chassis mount diodes. Oh, we've got the old glass fuse with a, I forget they used to have a label on them. I remember them from old Valve TVs or something. Oh, isn't this pretty? Australight. 1 amp carrying. Australight trademark. Is that end moving on me? It probably is. I think the ends are a little loose. I have not seen an Australight fuse with a little badge on it like that in a long, long time. But you used to find them in old, I think Australia made black and white TVs and that sort of thing. Other fuse is just a boring plain one. A couple of big capacitors, 2000 mic, 50 VDCW and VP. Voltage peak, I guess, 65. VDC working, volts DC working. 50, made in Australia. Ducon cap. One of these old mica type things out of Valve radios with an old Mullard OC something, I think that is. OC 72 maybe, transistor. We've got a 2N109, I think that is. Couple I noticed of these inductors look a bit cooked here, whether they're actually faulty or there's a fault in this channel, whether they've just been overloaded at some point. There's another old school, it's only got 2 leads I think, plus maybe an earth terminal. Looks like another old school transistor, a little black cased one, some TO3 transistors on the end. I would be guessing that the little flat packs on them there probably OC something or others as well. How hard is it to get that end panel off? Not that bad. Can we read? Oh, this is an OC72 for sure. And the other interesting thing about this is we've got these kind of pieces almost like perspex, and I did ask online what these were called, little turrets or something I think they said. These little pin things you put in to solder your parts to, and then you put your equivalent circuit board tracks on the back, and they're just actually wire links. So you put all your little bits in place to hold your components and then solder wire links between them. I guess similar to a circuit board, you'd probably set all the things on the same voltage rail. So they have, yeah, you can see this is like plus 24 written on it. So it all went along and they all came off that. And we do have what looks to be a little fuse here too, just a bit of fuse wire soldered in. Oh, it says D1 on this, so that is a diode of some sort. Little black, similar case to this transistor. Oh, here's another, here's an actual black. That was the case I was thinking of. I didn't even spot that one. An OC44. So this is pretty old school stuff. Old European transistors and stuff. Probably about as early as transistorized sort of stuff got. Looks like a sort of homemade job. Even though this chassis is rather professional for a homemade thing. And what have we got here? We've got some sort of relay. I think there's one for each, maybe each channel. Or maybe they're nothing to do. Two different relays. I've got another two diodes down the bottom, OA something. Large stud mount as they call them. Transformer doesn't seem to have any markings. Sometimes if it was locally made it would have a date stamped on it, but that was probably just manufacturers did that. Like commercial manufacturers, so they knew when the unit was made. Let's see if I can get this end plate off and just see what we've got in the way of output transistors here. There's another big electro hiding in between the boards there, maybe two of them. God, there's two big electrodes there, another one down there that's reasonable size, and two more chassis mount can electrodes in between the boards. So maybe that's what that other... I don't know what they got. Obviously got a bridge rectifier there, two caps, and then there's another two diodes, stud mounted or press fit. Oh, they screwed on it onto the chassis, so they both go to ground, I guess. No obvious regulator in this thing. Bit of red tape. So we've got OC35s, which, oh, AWA. Guess I'll try and focus in on those if I can, yeah. So OC35s, and what are they? ASZ16. So I assume that's a PF1 channel, or that says someone's penciled 2N2147 there. What does it say here? FRO in something? Oh, front. front. No, that says font or something. Oh, that's why it's hard to read, because the T's an F. Almost looks like an F for the next. Anyway, it's like front ont. Interesting little tabs on the micro washers, not sure what they're about. And don't know what sort of sockets they are. Got these weird red and black markings, although the guy who built it, assume it was a guy, most likely probably put them on there. And we've got a couple of preset pots here too. Like large, well, they're almost in standard pot cases, but with trim pots, so maybe they're volume or something. So the power cord's been chopped. Usual thing. So I'll simply get that out and connect it up. Okay, I've got a cord on it. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is just check across for a short or anything. I've got it open at the moment, and we don't have anything. Okay. Time to check the fuse, I guess. I could have checked it from behind probably, but another little Australite fuse. Another 1 amp carrying one. Nice little star symbol on there. So that's intact. Well, let's check which way this switch goes. I can probably set it like that, can't I? What do we got? Neutral there, active at the bottom. Open there. Oh yeah, and the contacts move, so up is off in this, or at least for the neutral it is. Oh, it is for both. Still nothing. What a weird old switch. And nothing. It's not making any contact to that, it's not. It's got these weird little round bits of stuff. That connects to that. Yeah, that one's working now. Or is it? Well, I've got active intact. I think this old switch hasn't been used for so long it's probably tarnished or... Ah, that should have swung further across. I reckon it's not moving enough. Yeah, it's doing a half, well, let's just say a half-hearted effort. I was going to say something else, but yes, it's not fully going in. A half-hearted effort at actually making contact there, and that's moving the mech. Ah, still open. What? Come on. Ah, now we're working. Okay. Now we're cooking with gas. Oh no, that is it looks like a fuse holder on the back. That lamp almost looks identical to the other. So we've got a second fuse holder, but it's the lamp. Let's unscrew it and have a quick look. Interesting old fitting. Seen better days. Looks much like one of the old driving light or indicator light kind of you'd see on an old car. That sort of pattern in it. That kind of weird diffuser, concentric rings as a diffuser sort of thing. So I guess it's probably safe to plug this on. I guess I should check. We've got fuses, they're not blown. Might as well check across these caps, I guess. That ain't too good a sign, but that's just the cap charging up by the look of it. Yeah. Oh, these relays, I wonder if they're to do with these switches that, yeah, that goes up to the coil. So these other two switches, so we can turn it on with the amps off by the look of it. Oh well. Ooh. We've got a lamp on the front. Just a boring old incandescent globe there. I guess I can see whether, I assume these caps will be powered up. So those other caps maybe are after we switch something. 23 volts. 24 volts. Oh yeah, both on 24 now. That must have been 23 something. Yeah, it's a little bit below. So nothing smoking there. Yeah, that relay's kicking in. Or that one. No other smoke coming out. Careful what I touch here because there is a live terminal block there, I think. Now where are the speaker outputs? Let's see if we've got any nasty stuff coming out of them. They may be capacitively coupled, or they most likely are. That might be what those other caps are. 10 volts. 10 volts. I wouldn't mind betting if we shove a resistor in there, that'll disappear. So we've got a 120 ohm resistor here. Let's see if that drops the voltage down to nothing. Oh, careful not to short onto the chassis while I'm doing it. Yeah. I think once you short these out, they stay discharged anyway. You'll soon know if there's something wrong. It'll probably get pretty hot in your hand pretty quick. Or you'll blow a fuse. Yeah, that's down to nothing. It does start rising again if you take the resistor out. And it goes all the way up. But if we put that across, it falls down. So this is probably a working amplifier of some sort. I'll have to use my CD player with the variable output, I think. And can I plug this into a Belling Lee somehow? Not easily. Just be careful of that. Mains connection. One thing I definitely don't have is a Belling Lee to RCA connector or adapter. That is one I've never come across before. I've needed some odd adapters, but never that one. But you know, maybe this was designed to stop people plugging normal stuff in or something. Who knows? Maybe it's just what they had on hand. don't think they... Oh, they are connected. Oh no, are they connected to the chassis or not? Probably not. Come on. I'll better that ground there to be sure. I guess I'll try and hook a speaker up and levels down reasonably low. Not sure how I'm going to connect to these. Just shove them in there, I guess. Yeah, I hear something making a noise. Yeah. Oh, well, let's... I got something. One channel by the look of it. Ooh. Two channels maybe. Oh, that doesn't sound too good. You're going to come back on. So one channel's not doing much. That one seems to be okay, is it? It's not that. It's definitely that one. To the back connector. It's possible one of these volume controls is turned right down. That one was at one end. Very happy. Oh, we've got the other one back now. There we have it, stereo and copyright bait right there, so I won't play that bit of that song. Smell it warming up. Not a bad one, it's probably just the old varnishy smell of the transformer, but it actually works. This was probably built, who knows when, late 60s maybe, mid 60s, I don't know. I'll have to look up a couple of those transistors, AC72 with Great Britain written on it. Is that a Mullard, that one? Yeah, it's a Mullard. There's a second Mullard there, so there's two. The black transistor, the 2N transistor, some sort of diode. Ooh yeah, the solder looks like it might have been a bit hot on those, or is it just a bit dry looking? Someone cranked those outputs up a bit, I think, and that's what burnt these up a bit, but they're still working. What a beefy little amp by the sound of it. Be good for a few watts. Oh well, there you go. Another completely useless bit of old novelty electronics. And it says top, someone scratched in this bit of plastic. But yeah, it would have been quite a bit of work to build, assuming they custom made this chassis, which is the craziest part of all really, and tapped all the little screw holes, and there's screws everywhere. What have we got here? We've got 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 30, 2, 4, 6, 8, 40, 2, for, there's about 44 screws just to either hold the front panel on or to hold all these sockets and switches. That's nearly up to 50 screws just on that panel. It's rather insane the amount of work that went into building these things. It's almost like it's been built by someone who was a telecom technician or something working on the telephones. That's what it reminds me of, these old relays and that style of chassis construction. But what it was actually used for, I'd be surprised if it was a home amp. Why would you have two separate amp switches? What is that socket there? Is it a socket? It looks... It's got things connected. Are they connected to... That's really weird. Oh, it goes to the... One of them is the earth. Does it have two separate connections? I think it's got earth underneath and then... That's not two pieces of metal, though. How on earth does that work? Or has it just got an insulated terminal? Don't know. Maybe it's just an earth connection of some sort. Maybe that's what it's for. So, yeah, rather odd. Kind of tempted to find out what those diodes are. Oh, yeah, these are the output coupling caps. That's what they are. I can see they go to those sockets. No idea what you call those sockets. They're almost like the 300 ohm ones used for TV antennas. Maybe they are, since we've got TV antenna ones used for the inputs to the channel. Guess it'd be interesting to just check out a few of these old electrodes and see how they measure. They're probably still as good as new. Power off. 0.72 for a 50 microfarad. What's the 47? Oh yeah, and 35 volts. This is a voltage working 25. Oh yeah, microfarads, voltage working, and peak 40 volts. So we're about 47 mic. What did I say? Working voltage 25. 1.2 for a modern one. 0.7 for this one. So better than the one you get off the shelf today. That's the same thing. 0.8. So all these people that say you've got to recap everything. So that one's not measuring too good. Can't make a connection to that. Although what are these? Are they actual? That's got positive markings on it. 100 microfarad. Is that 6 volts? 0.4. Make up your mind. Low voltage, yeah, again better than a 16 volt or a 10 volt modern one. This is 2 microfarad at 25 volts. I assume it's intact still, but that one may be open circuit. So that might be an issue. I guess I should clean those pots too and see if that stops it making a hell of a racket. Well, that one's not measuring so good. Or am I just not making a good connection is the other possibility. No, 2.7, so yeah, that's not as good as the other ones. 1.8, well, that's still within, I think, around the value we should be. This is the channel that has the fried bits in it. So maybe these ones have been cooked a bit. 2.1, I've got another one here. 0.4. That also seems to measure open circuit. So those little ones aren't much good, I don't think. 2 microfarad. Are they polarized caps though, or are they something different? Is it more like a so we're probably not going to measure anything because it's not electrolytic. I reckon it's not an electrolytic. I can't see. Oh, why not? You know, there is a marking for positive there. Well, it's in the same case as these funny looking things. They're like heat shrinked or something. No, I think those are duds. What is that? The power in maybe? The red wire goes to that connector. Who knows what they do? Or pink wire, I should say. And then it's wired to something. Yes, we don't know what this other connector actually did. But there's two fuse. Looks like we got voltage out of the transformer. Is that even what feeds? Yeah. So the voltage that goes into these amps also goes up to the connector pins on this thing. Could it be to feed another amp the same, like? But if that's got input wires, you'd think it would be some sort of input sourcing thing. So I wonder, unless it's to run the electronics in something else, I guess. And even those switches that switch the relays are also connected into a couple of pins. And ground. That goes to that fuse. And there's two pink wires that come across those faulty caps. But that's also connected to that line there with a pink wire. Two pink wires, they come back to the capacitor here. I'm not sure if that's positive or negative. Where's the... It'd be nice if they labelled things. How the hell do they know which pin's positive and which one's negative? Okay, it doesn't tell me much at all. Minus 22, minus 22. Well, that ain't much good. They're basically the same thing. Oh, there, look at that. I'm stupid, there's a link there, so they're definitely the same thing. So that's the positive side. Is the pink wires, which I think comes up to here. Yeah, and then this cap goes to what is possibly the negative or something. Oh no, it goes through... Did it just go through that resistor? It goes through that resistor to what may be... Who knows what it is. So a line comes along to this resistor, that transistor, this blue wire. Which I had a feeling that's what I was thinking it was ground, I think. That's what gets switched via the relay. And I assume that isn't positive or negative. I guess we have to press a yeah, I think it's ground. Something tells me something's charged around here. There's a bit of voltage there. So that's what it does. It goes from the positive through a 22k resistor to ground, I think. But there's other filter caps. I'm not sure what that's supposed to do. Yeah, those pots seem to go straight back to the input sockets. But yeah, that's another example of a what looks to be a semi-professionally built or possibly just homemade amp. Probably for some specific situation. And other than as a source of novelty, not much good for a lot. I do quite like the way they've done those boards. Something a bit different. But there's no branding on this, and there's sort of writing. Oh yeah, we've got plus 24 volts written there. L5 EBC D1 EBC for the transistor, minus. It does say plus 24 and minus 24. Or do they just mean the negative as in... So I'm just wondering, because we've got two different... Oh wait, at least two transistors. The two OC35s are on the same board. So you just see it in the same channel. and the two ASZ16s from AWA. Are they genuine stamps? Or has someone written that on there? ASZ16. I wonder if such a thing exists in the data books. AT, ASY is a thing. ASY, ASZs. Wow. ASZ16. Germanium PNP 60 volt 8 amp 30 watts. Sounds about right. Don't know if they were genuinely made by AWA Australia, but it's possible. Now let's see, OC35. So they're PNP Germanium 60 8 amp 30. OC35s are also Germanium PNP 80 volt 6 amp 30 watts, same thing. Even says you can use an AL, an AUY, ASZ15, so an ASZ16s and ASZ18. So they're all, so someone's probably blown up a channel and replaced them, or maybe they just couldn't get enough of a particular type at the time. They do actually have, oh no, they do. So I thought they got different, two of these insulating washers have got weird little tabs on them, two of them don't. I don't think those sockets have anything to say what they are. So maybe we had a blown output pair and someone's changed a pair of them and just left the cooked inductors in place. Does look, because that did have a bit of dodgy looking soldering on that. Or dodgier, so I reckon someone's actually possibly replaced those. They're probably all OCs to start with. So it's got a dicky power switch. Some of the caps are on their way out, but I'll give it a couple of pots that need a clean, but generally surprisingly good for something that is definitely a piece of early semiconductor stuff. Yeah, someone's just written on there and put a bit of varnish or lacquer or something over their writing, which is good enough, I guess. That pretty much screams homemade. But yeah, why the overdoing on the chassis? You wouldn't want to build every electronic project you made as solid as this thing. And yeah, the old tab mount pots, they used to be on the back of televisions and stuff. There'd be a metal frame across the back of the chassis with a whole bunch of these for all the internal adjustments. Maybe even some customer ones if they wanted to access some rarer used ones. Maybe with some holes to the outside world. But yeah, I don't know what this thing weighs. It's quite a few kilos though. Probably 4 or 5 or something. And that's with the covers off. But anyway, thanks for watching.